Financial Secretary, Mr. Paul Chan, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to our third biennial SFC Regulatory Forum. First of all, I would like to thank Paul for taking his time out of a very, very busy schedule, especially with the budget going on, to come to this conference and to give the keynote address. I also want to thank all the distinguished panelists and guests for joining us today. I know that some of you are here for the second and even third time, so I'm truly grateful for your support. Now, over the last 2 years, since our last forum in 2016, SFC has been very, very busy, and a lot has been going on in the market. I think two of the most significant developments since our last forum probably is the conclusion of the joint Hong Kong Exchange and SFC listing regulatory reform consultation, where we ended up doing our real-time and front-loaded regulatory approach. And of course, the recent publication of Hong Kong Exchange consultation paper on changing of the listing rules to promote the listing of new economy, innovative and high-growth companies with weighted voting rights and pre-revenue biotech companies. I think it's probably fair to say that if you asked me 2 years ago in February 2016 when we had our last forum, whether either of these events could happen, I would probably say no. So life is full of surprises. As a result of the feedback we received from our listing regulatory reform consultation, and in order to get ahead of threats to our market, we decided to more proactively exercise our powers under the statutory listing rules in the Securities and Futures Ordinance. We call it the SMLR. The SMLR allows us to object to problematic IPOs and to direct trading suspensions. We also form a cross-divisional task force to tackle corporate misconduct. I think these efforts have already made a positive impact on the market behavior, especially on the jet market. I think one thing is very clear. To further develop Hong Kong into premier capital raising venue, collecting mainland China with the rest of the world, we have to attract a greater variety of listed companies to list here in Hong Kong. We have been working hard to facilitate the listing of infrastructure project companies along the Belt and Road, and also emerging and innovative companies, such as new economy companies and pre-revenue biotech companies. This is the reason why we support Hong Kong Exchange's recent public consultation on expanding the listing regulatory platform to include weighted voting rights. We would therefore be most interested to hear market feedback on the various proposed safeguards and requirements. As many of you know, we've also introduced a new manager in charge regime, we call it the MIC, to clarify the accountability of senior management of licensed intermediaries. We find it encouraging that many of the firms took this opportunity to strengthen their corporate structure, and more than 10,000 individuals were appointed as MICs. We also took steps to stay ahead of potential problems with rapid technological innovation. We introduced new measures to reduce cybersecurity risks and issued guidance on online distribution platform. We also took regulatory action against a number of cryptocurrency exchanges and initial coin offering issuers, and alerted investors to their potential risks. And we're very glad to see the number of SFC licensees and licensed corporations reaching a record high last year. If these numbers are any indication, we're looking at an expanding industry which is dynamic and competitive. We need to be sure our approach to licensing is appropriate to address the risks and achieve the right outcomes. The past also saw us working more closely with our regulatory counterparts, both locally and from around the world. Hong Kong MA SFC held a number of joint supervision meetings with banks, and we signed an MOU last year with the Hong Kong Police Force to formalize and further strengthen our cooperation in combating financial crimes. Recently, as you have read from the press, we carry out a number of joint operations with the ICAC, and we expect more of this to come. Without doubt, the interests of SFC and China's Securities Regulatory Commission are now increasingly aligned. This will be key as the scope of our mutual market access programs broaden over time. Through Ashley's chairmanship of our ASCO board who have helped Hong Kong to play a key role in influencing the global regulatory dialogue. So these past 2 years were eventful and very busy for the SFC, but we will be just as busy in the coming months because there's a lot more to be done. Our panels today will take on some of the pressing questions we face, such as what is the best way for Hong Kong to deal with emerging challenges and risks, what is the right regulatory response to increasing market collectivity and disruptive technologies. We will also be looking at how to strengthen Hong Kong roles as international asset management center and risk management hub. Furthermore, we will examine the roles of regulation and corporate conduct. How can regulators help to change corporate behavior? Finally, today's forums will not be complete without a good discussion on effective intermediary supervision and enforcement. In closing, I'd like to express my gratitude to everyone who took the time to attend today. I hope you will find the discussions informative and stimulating. I'm looking forward to them. So to get things started, may I now invite the Financial Secretary, Mr. Paul Chan, to present his keynote address. Please, Paul. Thank you.